of this, so if you're thinking about leaving, don't. You're going to want to see this. Our next speaker is a U.S. Navy veteran and aviation electrician's mate, and he wants to remind us that he swore an oath to defend the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic. He knows exactly what it means to fight through the storm and stand up when others sit down. He continues to serve his country now as he runs for Montana House District 1. Montana, I know that 37 people that live there are listening. Vote for him. Please welcome Russell Cleveland.
It's 38, just to be clear. And one of them's here. Well, hello, beautiful people, fellow veterans. Much like my campaign, I want to take a moment to make sure you understand that this is not about me. It's about all of us. So look around right now and give each other a huge round of applause today for showing up. My name is Russell Cleveland, and I'm running for U.S. House, Montana District 1 to unseat Trump loyalist Ryan Zinke. Today I stand before you as a father, as a coach, as a small business owner, and as a U.S. Navy veteran who, like many of you here, took an oath to defend our Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic. Our greatest threat, though, on this day is not only domestic, but is quite literally the supposed leader of the free world. In my eyes, however, he is the worst leader that this country has ever seen. So I stand before you today, and I hope that you'll join me in considering two important questions. Questions that generations before us have had to answer for themselves. What type of country do you want to live in? Maybe more importantly, what type of country do you hope to leave behind? Me too. In America, we can no longer afford to measure success by the size of a person's bank account or by artificial symbols of their status. Our founding fathers would have never tolerated our country becoming an oligarchy. And so neither should we. We instead should measure success by the health of our children, by the strength of our communities, and by whether veterans can return home and live a life of dignity. We should measure success by whether a working family can actually make it here without being forced out by rising costs and shrinking opportunities. We must measure success by whether our elected leaders uphold their sworn oath to the Constitution and whether they stay committed to operate in the best interest of the people, not just themselves or their wealthy donors. My friends, I'm running for Congress in Montana because right now, too many people in power in this very city are disregarding that oath. And they are actively working to destroy our democracy. They're building a world where health care is treated like a luxury, where veterans are thanked in words but abandoned in practice, and where families work harder and harder every single year but fall farther behind. They cut critical programs for our veterans, impoverished children, and our seniors, instead helping the wealthiest few inch closer and closer to becoming trillionaires, and that is not right. They help pedophiles hide in plain sight and help greedy corporations exploit a planet that is literally begging for mercy. They're building a country where our public lands will be auctioned off to the highest bidder and massacred for corporate profit. A country where a federal masked police force traumatizes our communities, disappearing innocent people because of their race or country of origin, just like Nazi Germany did. A country where without need or justification, our service members are ordered to blindly and hatefully follow an agenda of one man instead of their own oath to our Constitution. A man who just yesterday wished death upon them if they do just that. They're building a country where billions of our hard-earned dollars are being sent to other countries first instead of being spent right here on Americans. That will leave our next generation massive debt that not only they'll never be able to pay, but they never had the choice to even weigh in on. My friends, this is not the country that I swore an oath to protect. And it sure as hell isn't the country that I want to leave behind. That's why I stand shoulder to shoulder today with all of the true patriots here like you, Americans rooted in integrity who deeply believe in upholding our oath to the Constitution. We stand together to demand the impeachment of the entire Trump regime. Our nation needs heroes in this moment, and not the type that wear a mask or a cape or that have superpowers. It's the people who wake up every day, who make their own lunches. And that, my friends, is the America that I'm fighting to bring back. So today I proudly stand before you all to demand the impeachment, conviction, and removal of the entire Trump regime. And I invite you to chant so loud that Trump himself can hear it today over in the White House. Say it with me now. Impeach, convict, remove. One more time. Impeach, convict, remove. Last time. Impeach, convict, remove. Thank you. I'm Russell Cleveland, running for U.S. House, Montana District 1. Let's get it done.
Hell yeah. Listen, we've already given the color guard their props. We've already given our speakers their props. I don't want this to be missed. We appreciate you guys pulling up. So give yourself a fucking a round of applause. Listen, we're at a time in America where if you don't show up now, it's going to be too late. So everybody here made the decision to get up and show up. Thank you. Our next speaker is a Marine Corps veteran. Today, this will mark his 60th protest. We hear you, Marines. Today will mark his 60th protest since the 14th of March. And American opposition founder Carlos Alvarez Araños, sorry, Carlos, once said about this guy, he's a force of nature, is how he described him. So please help me welcome Sergeant Rhodes.
Some of you know who I am already. I'm Sergeant Rhodes, U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran, and I don't do speeches. But I got some shit to say if you want to listen. We are not taking our country back, because these motherfuckers don't own it, we do. We are going to restore our Constitution to this federal administration, and those that do not wish to take those laws that we wrote and put them into effect to protect the people of the United States, the people inside our borders who are trying to have an honest, well-meaning life, those people who need our protection, the laws are for them. And if you cannot vote to impeach this orange clown, we will replace you. I'm not long-winded. I'm not up here to make a speech. I'm really not. I'm up here to remind you why you're here. You're here because he is not a dictator yet. And we are going to do everything that is humanly possible to make sure that never happens. If he was the dictator, hold on, if he was the dictator that he thinks he is, we could not be here. And that is the proof that we have more power than this motherfucker. Tomorrow, if you guys were here yesterday, if you're here today and you think this is amazing, tomorrow I need everybody that can get to DC to flood these fucking streets. If you live in driving distance, get in your car and get it to DC. At 12 o'clock noon, I need you at the Lincoln Memorial because we are shutting this shit down. I fucking love every one of you. I will die for you before I let this motherfucker take over. Sergeant Rhodes, see me in the fucking streets.
Fuck Trump! While I couldn't listen to that all day long, while that's my favorite ASMR, let's get up. We got a few more speakers and a big surprise for you. Earlier, we met Demi Palachek, who was one of 2 National Guard soldiers in Illinois who said they refuse to be deployed against their own troops. Now we're going to meet the other guy who did it with her. He's a 13-year Illinois Army National Guard veteran. He deployed to Afghanistan and did a 3-year tour at U.S. Army Europe and Africa and Germany. He's running for Congress in Illinois' 13th district to get the money out of politics and fight for working people. Please help me in welcoming Dylan Blaha.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today.
Dylan, you're a hero.
Thank you. My name is Dylan Blaha, as he said, and I'm a former cancer research scientist and an anti-imperialist veteran. I'm also running for Congress in Illinois' 13th district to change the system because the system is broken. This system takes away health care to give tax cuts to billionaires. This system provides weapons to war criminals and arms them in their genocide. This system starts endless wars for imperialist gain. Over the past few months, we've said no to ICE in our streets, no to endless wars, and no to attacks on the veterans like you all who risked your lives for this country. But most of all, we say no to the wannabe dictator in that White House. Fuck Donald Trump! I'm It's a good chant. I've served in the Illinois Army National Guard for almost 13 years, including 5 years on active duty. In Afghanistan, I advised Afghan medical leaders and worked alongside a Golden Hour offset surgical team as we saved endless lives. In Germany, I worked alongside some of the top U.S. and NATO war planners as we helped Ukraine and revise NATO war plans. President Donald Trump has openly threatened our American cities, including Chicago, Portland, Memphis, Charlotte, and countless more. And obviously DC. In response, I made a series of videos asking our military service members to remember their oath to the U.S. Constitution and to the American people. I asked soldiers to disobey any future unlawful orders as they are required to do. In response, like Demi already told you, they also suspended my security clearance and launched a 15-6 investigation. This is not normal. This is political persecution because I spoke out against our fascist government. Since then, I've continued to speak out because I believe in standing up for what's right. I will not be used as a pawn and pit against my community. I will not assist Trump's Gestapo, known as ICE, as they rip our community members from our streets. Fuck ICE. Make no mistake, the time to stand up is now. We're running out of time, but we haven't lost time yet. There are no guardrails left for our democracy. Every day, they get bolder and bolder. White Christian nationalists and billionaires continue to enact their vision of the future. Well, I say fuck that future. America is for the workers and not the billionaires. America is for all people, regardless of your race, gender identity, religion, ethnicity, sexual orientation, or the color of your skin. It is on us to protect our community. It is on us to protect our neighbors. We can't sit back and expect someone to do it for us. And because you're out here today, I know you are the exact people we need in this fight. It's on us to stand up to fascism. We cannot give up our rights in advance. And it's on us to convince Congress to kick that motherfucker out of the White House. It is time to impeach, convict, and remove. Impeach, convict, remove. Impeach, convict, remove.
Proper shirts for life's bigger moments. For all of life's proper shirt moments, there's Charles Tirrett. Shop now and get shirts from $49.95.
It is time to take our country back. Who's with me? Thank you all.
Speaking of impeach, convict, remove, our next speaker is a veteran of the United States Air Force and the executive director of Citizens Impeachment, a grassroots movement powered by 6,000 everyday Americans across every single congressional district with one mission, and that is to remove officials who violate the oath of office up to and including the president. Please help me welcome Kira Havens.
Hi, folks. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. All right. Thank you for being here. We are at a crossroads, and you are here to serve the country once again. Thank you so much. When I was in the Air Force, I worked with strategic weapons. So I've been viewing this whole thing through the lens of national security. And I can just say this president makes us weaker. He makes the United States weaker, hollows us out from the insides, and provides our adversaries with opportunities. This is why we stand against him, and this is why we are here today. Citizens impeachment brings every citizen directly into contact with the representatives, and we teach them how to get past the excuses and the inaction to demand that their representatives use their power to take the necessary steps to uphold their oath, the exact same oath every single one of us swore. To support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Russell, Demi, Dylan, and Maria Lana are 4 of our courage candidates. As soon as they are in office, they will file the articles of impeachment that we have written and initiate the process of impeachment. Those articles of impeachment indict Donald Trump for tyranny and for treason. And folks, I'm here to tell you that treason is what we need y'all to start talking about. We know when someone is fighting against our country because we fought for it. Donald Trump has gathered the flag staff and generals of this military together and told them they were in a war from within. His Secretary of Defense told them that part of their job was going to be bringing troops against Americans. Unacceptable. This is levying war against the United States. And that is exactly how the Constitution defines treason. He has also massively expanded the capacities of a paramilitary force in this nation. ICE and CBP and Border Patrol are expanding their activities far beyond their purview with the blessing of this administration. They are waging war against American cities and the American people. It is up to us as people who have been in the military, as people who have seen war up close, as people who understand what it is to wage war, to say very plainly that what this president is doing is waging war against the nation. Please take that forward. Join citizens' impeachment. We want you out there, and we are going to get this man impeached, convicted, and removed.
Moving right along, our next speaker is a Navy veteran who served as a nuclear reactor plant supervisor and nuclear quality assurance supervisor. She's way smarter than me. And today she continues to fight as she runs to flip Florida's 7th district. Please welcome Maria Lehner Kenter.
Good afternoon, everybody. As Jolly excellently put, I'm Maria Lena Kinter, Navy veteran, former nuclear reactor supervisor, running to remove Corey Mills from office. And like many of you, there are not words explicit enough to depict my disdain and disgust for the people who are in charge right now. Every single one of us in this crowd shares a bond that those politicians will never understand. We believe in this nation, and we all raised our right hand and took an oath, and unlike them, we are honoring it. We believe not only in our nation, but in the Constitution, and explicitly a nation where the highest promise above all else is liberty and justice for all. And we're in a fight, and this fight is not conceptual. It's not on faraway lands. It's not from foreign nations. It's not from terrorists that are not here, right? This is an attack from the people that are meant to be in charge. And this is an attack that affects every one of us. It's right here in Union Station. It's in our states and it's in our neighborhoods. We're seeing it every single day in our grocery stores, in our childcare, in our health insurance or lack thereof. And we're seeing it in their actions trying to override the Constitution's guarantee of birthright citizenship, withholding congressionally approved funds, and trading cryptocurrency for political pardons. There's an attack on human rights in the United States and a blatant campaign of racism, discrimination that's thinly veiled in patriotism and nationalism. But we see through that propaganda for what it is, an attack on our rights pinpointed at the most vulnerable. There's a war being waged in our streets and in our neighborhoods from a paramilitary force called ICE. Yeah, boom. ICE is acting as a danger to every single person in the United States, not simply immigrants. And as much as they claim they target only criminals, they are a threat to every American citizen. And if you don't believe me, within the last 11 months in 2025 alone, 170 American citizens have been wrongfully detained and violently harassed. Previously, over a 5-year period, that number was 121, and now it's 170 in 11 months. Fuck ICE. The betrayal we're experiencing goes beyond borders. Look at Mohammed Ibrahim, a Floridian child who is imprisoned in Israeli prison, and our government's abandoned him. That's a betrayal of every American child here, too. Shame. Let's talk about veterans, and let's look at how the government is failing them. They honored their promise, we honored our promise, and the government is turning around and removing their own promise, refusing to give health care, allowing 30,000 homeless veterans on our streets while millions can't access their earned benefits.
Fuck them for treating our veterans like shit.
And they're giving children and senior citizens that same treatment. I personally survived from food assistance and Medicaid when my single mother had to raise all 4 of us on her own. These are the programs that allowed us to survive into adulthood. But it's not only my word. 7.8 million senior citizens and 1 in every 5 children in the United States rely on food assistance programs that the government is actively attacking that will starve children here. I've talked a lot about the issues, but it's not enough to identify problems. We have to get to the root cause, because there is a disease rotting our democracy from the inside out. And unless we fix the root cause, we will see our democracy on a ventilator for the rest of our lives. Yet these root causes, we're seeing big money in politics, corruption, and constant self-service over public service. And we, the people, must demand accountability to us, to every single person standing here and watching at home. To do anything less is to hand over our power and our government to the tyrants who will remain in office if we do not fight back. And we cannot wait for somebody to save us. No one is coming. No troops or military will save us from the fascism in our streets, in our homes, in our neighborhoods, in our schools. It's up to us, to every single person here, every patriot behind me. We must do it. We are the United States, and we must fight like hell to ensure we stay that way and protect it from the people who are trying to circumvent and destroy our democracy and our Constitution. And finally, I'd like to re-say the oath that we all swore. We solemnly swear that we will support and defend the Constitution of the United States, and join me for the last part. against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Thank you.
We're almost done here. I am excited. This has been an amazing rally. You guys are fired up, and I can't wait. Being a father to his 2-year-old daughter rather than here fighting fascism, but he remembers his oath. You might know him online as CFH Unfiltered. Please welcome Corey Hargraves.
I want to start by saying thank you all for being here. I know it's a great sacrifice to be away from your family. Can you hear me? Yeah. I want to start by saying thank you for being here. I know it's a great sacrifice to be away from your family, and I am humbled to be on this stage speaking in front of you. When I came home after a bloody tour in Iraq during the surge, all I wanted was a peaceful life. I wanted a family. I wanted a place in the country and live a life of anonymity. I was tired of fighting. I felt that I had done enough. Somebody else can take the torch. But then I watched Donald Trump have rallies where his followers punched people of color in the face as he stood in front of America and said back in the day that would not happen. Then January 6th happened.
Traitor.
And I saw my own people, conservatives, people that called themselves patriots, people that grew up in the country. I seen them try to overthrow the very thing that they swore to protect. I seen Michael Fanone get beat by a flag that said Blue Lives Matter. Even then, I said nothing. No president has caused more damage. No president has divided Americans and families more than Donald Trump. He turned American against American, neighbor against neighbor, family against family. I don't even talk to my own fucking family. Now, I don't want to be here. I want to be home in my safe place in the world under a blanket with my wife and daughter. But we don't get that luxury anymore. We are living in one of the most historic moments in American history. A moment when leaders have to rise. And to those people that were afraid to speak out, I want you to hear this. We don't choose the moment. The moment chooses us. And as I look out in this crowd, I see veterans, I see leaders, I see future leaders, I see people that are going to fight hard to correct the course that this ship is on. Back towards sanity, decency, and democracy. Because in 16 years, when my daughter is 18 and her voice has been completely silenced, she's gonna look me in the eye and she's gonna ask, Dad, what did you do to stop this? What did you do to protect my voice? And if we don't speak out now, we are gonna have to look our children in the eye and tell them, nothing. I did nothing. No. I'm tired. You're tired. But we have to dig deep, because this is when leaders are made. Doing nothing isn't an option. We must impeach, convict, remove. Thank you.
So listen, this is a veterans rally, but people oftentimes forget that veterans, I know everybody says thank you for your service, and that's amazing. We appreciate the sentiment, but nobody did this shit for a thank you. Nobody did this shit for recognition. We have a core value. We say selfless service. Yeah. And Donald Trump doesn't know the first thing about that shit. But I wanted to have a guest up here that's not a veteran, because I think it's important to remember why the fuck we do this shit. Yeah. So I'm going to welcome up here Jody and her family. They're with Back 40 Action, and they're here on behalf of Little Lobbyists. If you're not familiar with Little Lobbyists, this is a group that advocates for kids with complex medical needs. Listen, I've been around a lot of actions that Little Lobbyists do, and I very rarely leave not crying, because this is the voice we need to listen to. This is the voice that should be heard in the White House. This is the voice that our representatives should be representing, and not lobbyists and not billionaires. Please welcome Jody.
Thank you guys for having us. We're just here today in DC. We've been here through the summer at different times, and louder. Okay. All right. So my name is Jody. This is my son Ian. I am a mom of 6 kids. I have 3 of them here with me now. I have 2 standing over here who just are a little camera shy, so they didn't want to come up. But we have Lee J, Isaac, May, Ian, Julius, and Leah. My husband's at home with the other little ones. And we're here to share our story of what Medicaid means to us and our family. So Medicaid really is everything to us. If we didn't have Medicaid, Ian would not be with us today. Medicaid is what pays for all of his doctors that he sees. He currently sees 21 specialists at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, which we're from Pennsylvania, but Philadelphia is a little over 4 hours away from us. So we're very rural, north central Pennsylvania in Tioga County. So we travel often, the 4.5 hours to get Ian the care that he needs. And Medicaid also pays for our nursing. So Ian has a nurse that hangs out with him at our house, helps him overnight with a lot of his medical needs, and different things that they do. And they also go to school with him. So Ian is able to go to school. And Ian is in 3rd grade. And he He is doing fantastic in school. He is thriving. He is making friends. He is the light of the classroom. He's super helpful, and his class would not be the same without Ian. And with and Ian fits in perfectly with our family. He's right there in the middle, and we do so much as a family, and we rely on Medicaid to provide services for him to be part of our family. With the cuts that are happening and the different, just all the things happening with Medicaid, it's a very scary time for our family, and we are here to fight to keep care for Ian, because Ian deserves care. He deserves to stay at home in his community where he is loved, where he is able to do activities that he enjoys and be part of our family. Without Medicaid paying for his medication and his nurses that help us out at home, we are looking at a future of having to put him in an institution, and that's just not okay. No parent should have to put their child in an institution based on not receiving health care to meet his needs. So, So that's our story. Medicaid means everything to us. I wish I could share more about all of us, but I know we have a time limit. So that's who we are. That's our family. We're here with little lobbyists, just advocating for the medical needs of kids with disabilities and complex needs. And as we go, I just want to say I would love to be doing something else today and not fighting. But I'm here fighting for Ian and other kids like him. And today happens to be his 9th birthday. And we are here.
I ain't trying to break you down, but for real, you might as well.
So, Ian, don't leave yet, buddy. So, check it out, Ian. We have a birthday present for you. And I'm not going to cry, and Matt's not going to make me, damn it. So, listen, Ian, in the military, you don't get to wear our uniform unless you go to basic and earn it, but you are more of a fighter than any of us. So, Matt here has got his Marine Corps top, and he wants to make you an honorary Marine, man. Let's hear it one more time for Ian. Thank you, guys. He's more of a Marine than the president will ever be. Or the vice president. That's a good one. All right, listen. We're going to go on this. We're coming up on the end of our speakers here. Then we got something we're going to do. Let me welcome up real quick our next speaker so we can move this right along. He's a progressive, unapologetic, leftist, anti-fascist. I like all those words. He served 4 years active Army, and then he was in the Tennessee National Guard after that. He's a father of 3, a husband, and a relentless defender of human rights. Please. Oh, yeah, and he's also a candidate in Alabama's 5th district. Let's give it up for Jeremy DeVito.
All right, last but not least, I just got off the airplane. I'm so excited to be here, y'all. Look at all these patriots out here. Like he said, my name's Jeremy DeVito. I'll keep this short and sweet, but to the point. I'm running for U.S. House of Representatives in Alabama's 5th district. That's North Alabama. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army, trained in psychological operations. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. And to my fellow veterans here today and across the world, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service, which has afforded me this opportunity today to speak freely and publicly without fear. And that's right. Like a lot of folks out here today, my entire adult life has been shaped and manipulated by weak politicians, corrupt billionaires, and other powerful people with a distinct goal of benefiting a select few at the expense of everyone else. That's right. I'm 41 years old, right? And I was born in the 80s, so that makes me a millennial. But and here's what makes this a truly unique generation. A generation that seems destined for this moment in our history. This is a story about that perspective. But you don't have to be a millennial to hear this message and take it to heart. So bear with me. In 2001, September, I was a senior in high school when I watched the Twin Towers fall. Yep. Everybody remembers where they were, I'm sure. Someone said they weren't born yet. You're thankful. Be lucky. I didn't know it then, but that moment has probably defined our entire adult lives. Because ever since that day, we have been living in a constant state of urgency. Never really comfortable enough to focus on building a life, always anticipating the next crisis on the horizon. This generation, my generation, the so-called millennials, have seen corporations and banks bailed out while other people lost their homes. 2 forever wars that have justified a surveillance state because of the looming specter of terror that could strike at any moment. The financial collapses that decimated the working class. 9/11 also gave birth to the worst bastards this country has ever seen. The American Gestapo, known as ICE. We've lived... Fuck ICE! It's always and forever fuck ICE, right, Jolly? That's right. We've lived through COVID, a first Trump presidency that attempted to overthrow the fucking government. And now a second Trump presidency that once again welcomes fascism and lawlessness with open arms. Open corruption, accepting bribes, deploying troops against American cities. Kidnapping and deporting innocent people, routine violations of the public trust without fear of consequence. But see, I know, it sounds like a bad ending, but it ain't over yet. But listen, because of everything I just mentioned, what we've lived through, millennials, we are uniquely built for this moment. Yeah! That's right. I love that. Our constant state of urgency, born from crisis after crisis, have created a generation of people undeterred by insurmountable odds, never comfortable with accepting failure, unsatisfied with the status quo, willing to face danger head on, and determined to speak truth to power. We have watched, I told him I'd be quick, so. We have watched with anger, despair, and incredulity, I wrote that and I still can't say it, as our country, our government, and our media capitulates to fascism time and time again. So today, we use our anger, our disgust, and our lived experience to call on those in power to impeach the President of the United States for violating his oath of office and causing irreparable harm to our republic. This demand is made with urgency and the utmost importance, so that we may meet this moment and write the course of our history now. And to those in office now, I say this loudly: if you cannot muster the courage to do so, then you must resign your position in elected office immediately. So so that others can serve this country with courage and purpose that your office demands. And to you, the faithful veterans of our nation gathered here today, I say, always remember your oath. We must understand what this moment requires of us all. The integrity to keep faithful to our Constitution, the honor to do so proudly, and the courage to do so even when we are scared. Finally, I will close by saying this to everyone. Live in this moment. Harness the urgency we share and the convictions that drive us. And so together, that we may push this unworthy, weak, and cowardly fascist out of our government into obscurity. We will hold them accountable. Impeach, convict, remove. Impeach, convict, remove. One more time. Impeach, convict, remove. My name is Chairman DeVito. Thank you.
Our last couple speakers will be fast just like that because we got shit to do. Listen, this next guy describes himself as a relentless combat veteran who's pro-black and anti-fascist. Please, I've known this guy for a while. He's a friend of mine. Online, you might know him as U.S. Army Overlord. Please welcome Rig.
Let's go, baby. Hell yeah. Well. In the show of Black Solidarity, I'm going to split some of my time with a Vietnam veteran known as Bandit Pop. My name is Ron Easton. I'm here representing the 76-year-old men who can't be here who fought in Vietnam. I'm here to represent the 58,349 names that are in that black piece of granite down the street. I'm here to represent the 500,000 troops that are buried in Arlington National Cemetery that our president desecrated by walking on a grave. I am not here to fuck around. Understand that. All right? My message is clear. I want you and all those bitch-ass cocks out of office. All right? This is our country. We will not lay down and let some bitch take it from us. Especially some bitch with bone spurs. Yeah? So understand, I didn't come here to play. I came here to make my voice heard and the voices of the heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice. Hell yeah, baby. I'm here representing the fucking wrath of my ancestors. Look where the fucking country is at. How far has America fallen? Fucking pedophiles in office. Powerpuff boys who took a shit in the halls of Congress. And the most racist fucking president in history. Talking shit about black liberation. Motherfucking fake ass patriots on Facebook. Calling me a motherfucking nigger after I served this country for 22 years, 11 months and 4 days. 5 operational deployments. Cuba, 95. Bosnia, 96. Kosovo, 99. Hey, Pete, Whiskey Leaks Hexef, I didn't see you here. Iraq, 08. Afghanistan, 2013. Scam Bondi, I didn't see you here. You motherfuckers about to see the wrath. You couldn't do shit without black people. Every fucking war we fought this motherfucker. When them black red ring pilots darkened the skies over Nazi Germany, you motherfuckers.
And love, which is New York City. and the need to deliver affordability to New Yorkers, the 8.5 million people who call our city their home, who are struggling to afford life in the most expensive city in the United States of America. We spoke about rent, we spoke about groceries, we spoke about utilities, we spoke about the different ways in which people are being pushed out, and I appreciated the time with the President, I appreciated the conversation. I look forward to working together to deliver that affordability for New Yorkers.
Thank you very much. Any questions, please?
President Trump, Stephen Nelson from the New York Post. I've got a question for you and then also one for the mayor-elect. Sure. For you, you've referred to Mr. Mamdani as a communist. Could you describe why you feel that way? And also, will you do anything to stop him from arresting Prime Minister Netanyahu if he visits New York?
Well, we didn't discuss your second part of the question. And on your first part, I mean, he's got views that are a little out there, but who knows? I mean, we're going to see what works, or he's going to change also. We all change. I changed a lot. From when I first came to office. It's now quite a while ago. It's quite a while. My first term was great. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We're doing even better now. We're doing much better now than we did even the first term. And I can tell you some of my views have changed. And we had discussions on some things. I'm not going to discuss what they were, but that I feel very confident that he can do a very good job. I think he's going to be. I think he is going to surprise some conservative people, actually, and some very liberal people. He won't surprise them because they already like him.
And for Mr. Mamdani, it sounds like you had a productive discussion, but just days ago you referred to President Trump as a despot who had betrayed the country. You said you'd be his worst nightmare and accused him of having a fascist agenda. Are you planning to retract any of these remarks in order to improve your relationship?
I think both President Trump and I, we are very clear about our positions and our views, and what I really appreciate about the President is that the meeting that we had focused not on places of disagreement, which there are many, and also focused on the shared purpose that we have in serving New Yorkers. And frankly, that is something that could transform the lives of the 8.5 million people who are currently struggling under a cost of living crisis, with 1 in 4 living in poverty. And the meeting came back again and again to what it could look like to lift those New Yorkers out of struggle and start to deliver them a city that they could do more than just struggle to afford it, but actually start to live in it.
And I've been called much worse than a despot, so it's not that insulting. Maybe I think he'll change his mind after we get to working together. Yes, please.
Mr. President, Anthony Marshak from MTV Lebanon. I would like to ask you a question about the Middle East regarding, you said that Hezbollah in Lebanon is not in a good position. And Lebanon now is the final unresolved after Gaza and Syria. Given your assessment, like, what do you say for the Lebanese today? It's the Independence Day in Lebanon. And what is your next move to push toward disarmament? The disarmament of Hezbollah.
Well, we are pushing for total disarmament of Hamas and, frankly, everybody else. And we actually have peace in the Middle East. As you know, the King of Saudi Arabia just left yesterday. We had some great meetings, and he's made a contribution toward the United States of more than $1 trillion. We have now over $20 trillion coming in. No country has ever had anything like that, not even close. If you go to 2 trillion or 1 trillion, it's a lot. We have 20 or $21 trillion. I think that Hezbollah has been a problem in Lebanon, big problem. We're working with Lebanon. We're working with everybody in the Middle East. That's another thing I think we have in common. We want to see peace in the Middle East. And we actually have now, for the first time, peace in the Middle East after 3,000 years. And now we're going to refine it. And I think you're going to see some very positive things happen.
There is a potential to invite the Lebanese president to meet you to the White House.
I would do that, absolutely. And if the mayor would like to be here for that meeting, because I know he feels very strongly. I think you feel very, very strongly about peace in the Middle East.
We desperately want it, and that's something that I shared with the president, that when I spoke to New Yorkers who had voted for the president last November on Hillside Avenue and Fordham Road, I asked them why. I heard again and again 2 major reasons. One was that they wanted an end to forever wars. They wanted an end to the taxpayer dollars we had funding violations of human rights, and they wanted to address the cost of living crisis. And I appreciated the chance to discuss both of those things.
He said a lot of my voters actually voted for him, and I'm okay with that. I'll do that. I'll sign it. Give it to me. I'll sign it in a minute. That's pretty good.
Mr. President, you've threatened to send federal troops to New York City. You both have differences when it comes to ICE agents in New York City. Mr. Mamdani, you've called ICE a rogue government entity. I wonder how you reconcile your differences on both of those issues?
Well, I think we're going to work them out, and I think that if we have known murderers and known drug dealers and some very bad people, we want to get them out. And the mayor wants to have peace. We discussed this at great length, actually, maybe more than anything else. He wants to have a safe New York. Ultimately, a safe New York is going to be a great New York. If it's not safe, no matter how well we do with pricing and with anything else, we can talk about anything you want. If you don't have safe streets, it's not going to be a success. So we're going to work together. We're going to make sure that if there are horrible people there, we want to get them out. I think he wants to get them out maybe more than I do. So we'll work together. We discussed it at great length. Yes, please.
Yeah, two questions, if I may. One for you, Mr. President, on BBC in a second. But first of all, for the mayor-elect. You're both from different parts of the political spectrum. You're both populists, though, and I just wonder to what extent the president's campaign style, his techniques, his social media use inspired any part of your campaign.
Well, I actually told the president that, so much of the focus of our campaign has been on the cost of living crisis. And when we asked those New Yorkers who had voted for the president, when we saw an increase in his numbers in New York City, that came back to the same issue: cost of living, cost of living, cost of living. And they spoke about the cost of groceries, the cost of rent, the cost of Con Ed, the cost of childcare. And too often politicians are looking to lecture to New Yorkers what they should care about as opposed to listen. And when we spoke to those voters who voted for President Trump, we heard them speak about cost of living. We focused on that same cost of living, and that's where I am really looking forward to delivering for New Yorkers in partnership with the president on the affordability agenda.
And I think we have to work a little bit. We talked about Con Edison. We have to work a little bit on getting the prices because, we've gotten fuel prices way down, but it hasn't shown up in Con Edison. And we're going to have to talk to them. If we're sending them fuel at a much lower price than it was a year ago, which is true, we have to get Con Edison to start lowering the rates.
Absolutely.
And if I may, last week you told me you were pushing ahead with your plans to sue the BBC for up to $5 billion. You're going to speak to Prime Minister Starmer as well. Is there any progress or any updates on those issues?
Well, we get along very well with the Prime Minister. We made a deal with UK. I like him. He's a fine person. And, I think they have some big energy problems. They've got windmills all over the place. They're going to have to start using other methods because their energy is out of control. Talking about in the UK, it's out of control. And he's got that problem. He's got a big immigration problem, as you know, and he's got a big energy problem. And we talk about it. He's a good man. Prime Minister's a good man.
Have you had a chance to speak this week?
I haven't spoken this week.
Mr. President, have you spoken to President Zelensky, or do you intend to meet with him, President Zelensky, about your plan? Are you going to meet with him?
I've spoken with their people. We have a plan. It's horrible what's happening. It's a war that should have never happened. It would have never happened if I was president, and it's a shame. And I thought they should have acted quicker. But it's a cold winter, and a lot of the you talk about utilities, but a lot of the big energy-producing plants have been under attack, to put it mildly, to put it nicely. We have a way of getting peace, or we think we have a way of getting peace. He's going to have to approve it. Just so sad, so many people. Last month they lost 25,000 soldiers. This is something, we haven't seen anything like this since the Second World War. And they're averaging 6,000 or 7,000 a week between the two of them, dead soldiers. And it goes on, and I think they're getting reasonably close, but I don't want to predict. I would have said that would have been one of my early ones. I did 8 peace deals of countries, including in India, Pakistan. You could even go, in fact, they're coming here in a week or two, go to the Congo and Rwanda. That was 10 million people dead, and we worked something out on that. But so many, and the one I thought would have been, for me, because I have a very good relationship with President Putin, I thought that would have been maybe quicker. But it does take 2 to tango. And now you just see all the death. And, it doesn't affect us other than the fact that we don't want to see all those people dead. Really, it's on the other side of the ocean. It's a war that should have never happened. It did happen. I blame the person also sitting right behind this desk. This is a war that should have never happened, and it wouldn't have happened if I were president. But we're trying to save a lot of lives. They're losing 25,000 lives over the last short period of time. That's Ukrainian and Russian, and it's a shame.
What happens if President
I want to ask the mayor-elect about a House resolution. It just passed overwhelmingly to condemn socialism, including with 86 Democrats, all of House Dem leadership, and the Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, despite his endorsement of you. What's your reaction to that?
I have to be honest with you, I've focused very little on resolutions. Frankly, I've been focusing...
Condemn socialism.
I understand. I think the focus is on the work at hand. I can tell you I am someone who is a democratic socialist. I've been very open about that. And I know there might be differences about ideology, but the place of agreement is the work that needs to be done to make New York City affordable. That's what I look forward to.
And I want to clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes. Okay. It's easier. It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Mr. President, I wanted to ask you also about this Ukraine plan. President Zelensky said today that his country would risk either giving up a partner or giving up its dignity. There's been criticism that this deal proposal...
He doesn't like it?
It's unclear. He was sort of tenuous about it.
He'll have to like it, and if he doesn't like it, then, they should just keep fighting, I guess,
The suggestion that he made, though, was that if he doesn't accept it, that the U.S. would pull back its support for Ukraine. Is that
Well, at some
accurate?
point, he's going to have to accept something. He hasn't accepted. You remember right in the Oval Office not so long ago, I said, you don't have the cards. Don't forget, I inherited this war. This war never would have happened. I inherited this war. And I thought he should have made a deal a year ago, 2 years ago. The ultimate deal would have been if it never started. That would have been the good deal. That could have been done, too, if you had the right president, but you didn't have the right president.
Mr. President, the cost of living is something that you and Mr. Mamdani seem to agree on. Democrats have run New York City for a long time, Mr. Mamdani. Do you see Democrat policy specifically as being a problem? And I'd like that be a question that both of you could answer in New York City.
Look, I think that there are many things in our city where we have to own the responsibility of it, things that existed long before the president was the president. And those are also part of the message of our campaign, was to take on a broken politics of the past. And I ran against a number of candidates who represented different versions of that past. And what we found time and again is that working people were left behind in the politics of our city. And what we're looking to do is put those people right back at the heart of our politics so that we don't have a situation where we're in the wealthiest city in the history of the world, and yet 1 in 5 can't even afford $2.90 for a Metro card.
Mr. Mamdani.
We had some interesting conversation, and some of his ideas really are the same ideas that I have. But a big thing on cost, the new word is affordability. Another word is just groceries. It's sort of an old-fashioned word, but it's very accurate. And they're coming down high. They were... we had, both of us, we had the highest inflation in the history of our country the last 4 years under the Biden administration. And we've got inflation down now to a normal number. It's going to go even a little bit lower than that. Katie, do you have something?
Mr. President, thank you so much. Mr. Mamdani often talks about New York City being covered by international law, that they will follow international law. Doesn't often talk about the U.S. Constitution. What is your response to that?
Well, I don't know what you're referring to in terms it can be covered by international law, local law. It's covered by a lot of laws, but it's covered by U.S. law. Are you referring to anything in particular?
He just says that they're a city that endorses and enforces international law. Is that at odds with U.S.
I don't
law?
know. Would you want to respond to
Yeah,
that?
I think what I've shared with the president is our desire to not only follow the laws of our own city, laws that protect New Yorkers, but also a desire for consistency in our politics across the board. And that's something that we've talked about and something that I know many New Yorkers want.
Will you work with ICE? We work with ICE then?
We discussed ICE and New York City, and I spoke about how the laws that we have in New York City allow for New York City government to speak to the federal administration for about 170 serious crimes. The concerns that many New Yorkers have are around the enforcement of immigration laws on New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs, and most recently we're talking about a mother and her 2 children, how this has very little to do with what that is.
Mr. Mamdani,
What we did is we discussed crime. More than ICE per se, we discussed crime. And he doesn't want to see crime, and I don't want to see crime. And I have very little doubt that we're not going to get along on that issue. He wants to And he said some things that were very interesting as to housing construction. And he wants to see houses go up. He wants to see a lot of houses created, a lot of apartments built, etc. And we actually people would be shocked, but I want to see the same thing.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters.
Yeah,
Mr. President, I wanted to know one of the policies as well that Mayor-elect Mamdani talked a number of times about on the campaign was shifting the tax burden for property taxes from what he called minority communities to white-based communities and putting more taxes on white people. I also noticed that in your acceptance speech you didn't mention anything about America or Christians or white people in general, and so I didn't know if that was one of the policies that you guys had spoken about.
We focused on affordability. We focused on the cost of living crisis. What I will say is that I am very much interested in property tax reform because what we see right now in New York City is a system that is so inequitable that it can't even stand up in court. And the President and I spoke about the importance of not only building more housing, but also making sure that regulation of housing is something that is manageable to actually get through and not the cause of yet another weight that we see in our city.
But to be clear, you're continuing this idea of race-based property taxes.
No, to be very clear,
that's what you said.
No, the use of the term was a description of neighborhoods, not a description of intent.
So you intend to tax the whiter neighborhoods more?
No, we intend to create a fair property tax system because we want a New York City that is not only fair and equitable, but also one that every New Yorker can afford.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel
Please, go ahead.
Mr. Mamdani, anti-Israel protesters just targeted a synagogue in New York. Are you concerned about Jewish New Yorkers feeling welcome and safe in the city? And President Trump, you've threatened to cut off federal funding to New York City. What policies would prompt you to do that? Would that be city-run grocery stores? Would it be something else?
Well, I think if we didn't get along, whether it's cut off or just make it a little bit difficult or not give as much, we want to see, I use the term, we don't want good money going after bad. And we don't want that to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I did say that, subject to what policies are being said. We had a meeting today that actually surprised me. He wants to see no crime. He wants to see housing being built. He wants to see rents coming down, all things that I agree with. Now, we may disagree how we get there. The rent coming down, I think one of the things I really gleaned very much today, he'd like to see him come down, ideally, by building a lot of additional housing. Yeah. That's the ultimate way. He agrees with that, and so do I. But if I read the newspapers and the stories, I don't hear that. But I heard him say it today, and I think that's a very positive step. No, I don't expect. I expect to be helping him, not hurting him. A big help, because I want New York City to be great. Look, I love New York City. It's where I come from. I spent a lot of years there. Now I'm right here. We took a big setback with the mayor that we had, named de Blasio. I thought it was a tremendous setback for the city. I think this mayor can do some things that are going to be really great.
Mr. President, Mr. President,
Thank you,
Mr. President. You're a billionaire. You have a different address nowadays than you used to, but you used to call New York City home. Would you feel comfortable living in New York City under a Mamdani administration?
Yeah, I would. I really would. Especially after the meeting. Absolutely.
What makes you comfortable?
We agree on a lot more than I would have thought. I think I want him to do a great job, and we'll help him do a great job. He may have different views, but in many ways, we were discussing when Bernie Sanders was out of the race, I picked up a lot of his votes, and people had no idea, because he was strong on not getting ripped off in trade and lots of the things that I've practiced and been very successful on. Tariffs, a lot of things. Bernie Sanders and I agreed on much more than people thought. And when he was put out of the race, I think quite unfairly, if you want to know the truth, many of the Bernie Sanders voters voted for me. And I felt very comfortable, frankly, in seeing that and saying that. And, it just turned out to be a statistical truth. But, no, I feel very comfortable. I would feel very, very comfortable being in New York, and I think much more so after the meeting. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a question for you, but a very quick one for the mayor. Why did you fly here? Aren't trains greener?
I'll use every form of transit, and I want to make sure that they're all affordable in New York City, and that's why making buses fast and free is a centerpiece of our campaign.
There is a bus that goes.
Well, but I know, but if he flew, that's a lot quicker too. He's working very hard. For him to be, it's a very That's a very long drive. I'll stick up for you. You know, the plane takes you 30 minutes and driving takes you a
And
long
Mr.
time.
President, I was wondering if you could clear up some confusion around a Washington Post report. There was this explosive report that the Coast Guard is no longer going to characterize swastikas and nooses as hate symbols. DHS called that a lie and fake news. Can you clear up?
I don't know anything about it. When was this written?
I think yesterday.
Well, look, the Coast Guard's an incredible group of people. I know them very well. We just ordered a lot of new Coast Guard cutters. Beautiful, the most magnificent ship. They look like yachts with lots of guns on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen any report like that. But certainly we want them to remain a great force, and they are.
You are a peacemaker, and you did the peace in all the 9 months around the world. I would like to ask Mr. Mamdani, you've accused the U.S. government of committing genocide in Gaza while President Trump was working on peace. Why that?
I've spoken about the Israeli government committing genocide, and I've spoken about our government funding it. And I shared with the president in our meeting about the concern that many New Yorkers have of wanting their tax dollars to go towards the benefit of New Yorkers and their ability to afford basic dignity. And what we see right now is we're in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 school children being homeless in our city. And there's a desperate need not only for the following of human rights, but also the following through on the promises we've made New Yorkers. And I appreciated the meeting we had and the work that we can do.
Do you agree that President Trump did do a peace and he worked hard to make the peace? Because he worked hard to do the peace in the Middle East and everywhere. Do you agree with that?
I appreciate all efforts towards peace, and I shared with President Trump that when I spoke to Trump voters on Hillside Avenue, including one of whom was a pharmacist that spoke about how President Trump's father actually went to that pharmacy not too far from Jamaica Estates, that people were tired of seeing our tax dollars fund endless wars. And I also believe that we have to follow through on the international human rights, and I know that still today those are being violated, and that continues to be work that has to be done no matter where we're speaking of.
Mr. President, question for Mr. Thank you, Mr. President. Do you view the mayor-elect as the true leader of the Democrat Party? And do you think Leader Schumer's and Leader Jeffries, have to follow his lead?
Well, look, I hope they have great leaders. This is a man that right now I think is focused on New York City. I really think he has a chance to do a great job. We're going to help him, but I really think he has a chance to do a great job. But I'll let you answer that. You consider yourself the leader of the Democrats? I think it's more appropriate for him.
I consider myself the next mayor of New York City, and I keep my horizons firmly on New York City, and I appreciate the meeting with the president, which focused again on the 5 boroughs and whether New Yorkers could afford to live there.
By the way, being the mayor of New York City is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I always said, one of the things I would love to be someday is the mayor of New York City. Being the mayor of New York, and especially now, because I think you're at really a turning point, one way or the other. It could go great, or it can go in a different direction. And I think you really have a chance to make it great.
Mr. President, you say you love New York City. Mr. Mamdani, does New York City love President Trump?
New York City loves a future that is affordable. And I can tell you that there were more New Yorkers who voted for President Trump in the most recent presidential election because of that focus on cost of living. And I'm looking forward to working together to deliver on that affordability agenda.
I got a lot of votes. One more. Go ahead. 1 or 2 more. Go ahead. I tell you, the press has eaten this thing up. I've had a lot of meetings with the heads of major countries. Nobody cared. This meeting that you people have gone crazy. Outside you have hundreds of people waiting. This is just a small little group. For some reason, the press has found this to be a very interesting meeting. The biggest people in the world, they come over from countries nobody cares. But they did care about this meeting, and it was a great meeting. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. President, I was going to ask you exactly that. Why do you think there's so much more, so much excitement around this than even some foreign leaders?
Because I think he's different. All right? I think he's different, and that can be in a very positive way, but I think he's different than, your typical guy, runs, wins, becomes mayor maybe, and nothing exciting. Because he has a chance to really do something great for New York. New York is at a very critical point. And he does need the help of the federal government to really succeed, and we're going to be helping him. But he's different than, your average candidate. He came out of nowhere. I said he has a great campaign manager standing over there. He came out of nowhere. What'd you start off at 1 or 2? And then I watched. I said, who is this guy? He was at 1, then he was at 3, then he was at 5, then he was at 9. Then he went up to 17. I said, that's getting a little bit interesting, right? And then all of a sudden he wins a primary that nobody expected he was going to win. It's a great a great tribute. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he did.
And I'll just add one thing to what the president said. Is one thing I also appreciated is in our meeting to appreciate a portrait of FDR and the incredible work that was done with the New Deal, and also in thinking about what it can look like when the federal government and New York City government work together to deliver on affordability. It can be transformative.
You know, we have a great portrait of FDR that I found in the vaults that was missing for years. I found it, and I put it up. He's a Democrat, to the best of my knowledge. He's a Democrat. And when the mayor saw that portrait, he said, "Sir, do you mind if I have a picture taken by that portrait?" It's an amazing portrait. I hope the picture comes out good. But it's an amazing portrait in the cabinet room. So he's a big fan of the New Deal, I guess, and of FDR. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said that you both spoke about crime. There are many police officers set to come off the rolls at the end of this year in New York City. Are you going to allow those police to be replaced with police officers, actual cops? And are you going to require that that happens? Would there be some consequence if the
Well, I hope
staff...
it happens, but again, that's going to be ultimately the mayor's decision.
What's your answer?
Is that I look forward to delivering public safety with the NYPD, and I've said over the course of our campaign that we have the number of police officers today. They are the ones that's budgeted about 35,000 headcount. And I think the key thing is that we have to make it easier for police to focus on police work, not ask them to respond to 200,000 mental health calls a year.
So is that a reduction from what you're at right now? Are you committing to maintaining the same level of cops?
I've committed over the course of the campaign to maintain the 35,000. That's the headcount that we had through the campaign.
And not replace them with caseworkers, social workers?
No, I've said that's the headcount that we want. What we need to do is make sure they can focus on serious crime.
And he just retained a great police commissioner, I believe, right?
Yes, we did. Commissioner Tisch.
If the newspapers are correct.
That one they're correct about.
He retained, I think, somebody that is she's a good friend of some of the people in my family, of Ivanka, and they say she's really good, really competent, and he just retained her, so that's a good sign.
Mr. President, are there still topics that you see the two of you disagreeing on in the future? And do you think you'll have more meetings like this?
There will be topics that we disagree on. I think we'll probably come to a conclusion, and ultimately he'll convince me, or I'll convince him. You know, it's for the good of New York. Ultimately, it's for the good of New York. I don't care about affiliations or parties or anything else. I want to see if this city could be unbelievable, if he could be a spectacular success, I'd be very happy.
Do you think you guys will meet more in the future too?
Excuse?
Do you think you'll meet again in the future, throughout the administration?
I think we will. I think we will. I hope we do. I enjoyed the meeting. We had a great meeting. Please.
Mr. President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zohran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but she's out there campaigning, and you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person.
Isn't
But
that kind of label?
you really have to ask her about that. But no, I don't particularly. I think I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again. And I can say again, because New York was great. When I came down to Washington initially, the city was so hot. It was doing great. We were having some telltale signs of problems. We had a mayor that was not doing a great job, but still, it was moving along, and it went bad. It really went, pretty bad. And I think it's been at lower points, but it went pretty bad. I think he can bring it back. Now, the question is, will he bring it back all the way? Will he bring it back greater than ever before, which is, I guarantee, that's his wish. I think he wants to make it greater than ever before. And if he can, we'll be out there cheering. I'll be cheering for him. Okay? Thank you very much, everybody.
You chose not to answer the question about sitting on.
Thank you very much.
I care.